I have heard this that they have asked him to lose some weight. I don't know how true that is.
Well, you're not supposed to be asked. Okay, it's like can you ever imagine that somebody telling, okay, Ronaldo, Cristiano, I think I want you to lose some weight. Like, you're a professional fucking athlete. Well, can you imagine that situation? He's been there for such a long time. All right, hi everyone. This is Gav and this is Big right there. We're recording this podcast on a rainy Bangalore afternoon. I'm assuming it's raining. And it's Monday, it's May 10th, 2021. It is, right? Wonderful. Now, we'll be talking about India's squad, which got selected, and some of the people who missed out, like tiny margins for the World Cup final, not the World Cup, WTC final, and the 5 test matches against England. So altogether 6 test matches. This is big. Because I just watched the last 2 podcasts we did, Glazers out and the IPL postponement. I like it. And if I was Chinese, I would say, me like to watch. So that was good. And more than that, I watched Aakash Chopra's podcast. He discussed pretty much exactly the same thing that we're going to discuss in this podcast. Now, anyone who's watching us, please just listen to Aakash Chopra's podcast. Link is in the description. And after listening to it, you'll be stunned, completely stunned that, who comes across more professional. I'm pretty sure it's us, but you can also decide. And Aakash Chopra, if you don't know who he is, he's an ex-India test batsman. I think he's played one day, I'm not sure. But he represents now cricket, which is the big shit, right? And we are like nobodies. We have like 350 subscribers and nobody pays us any money and we do other things. We can't just spend all our life. He has spent all his life. The funny part was that he looks completely clueless and at times he's just plain embarrassing. I mean, you have to watch. I don't know, Bikram, you watched it or not. But it was just completely clueless podcast. It was embarrassing. And because he wanted Prithvi, he wanted Hardik, he wanted Kuldeep, he wanted Bhuveneshwar. Now my point is, with all the people who ever complain about stuff, this guy did not get selected, that guy did not get selected. You tell me, who the fuck are you going to get out from the team? Rohit Sharma? Virat Kohli? Who is going to come out? This is not a fucking langar. This is not a Delhi COVID Shaadi 50 member leke jayenge wahan pe hum. No, you can only select 20 people. They can only take as many people they possibly can. They can't just kick people out, and you can't take them as like extra side net bowlers at Bhuveneshwar Kumar. I mean, how does that fucking look? Bhuveneshwar was like, what the fuck, now became a side net bowler? So what happened there? And this is India. We have class system. You can't take Rohit Sharma as an extra batsman. He will be like, either you take me, then you play me. Now, I was surprised that he was not complaining that Arjun Tendulkar did not get selected as the premium fast bowler, as a left armer for us. Now, I think a lot of people will start misinterpreting this because last podcast I remember I was doing Anjum Chopra bashing, so it looks like I am this Chopra bashing person constantly doing. Listen, I want to make it clear, I'm not anti-Chopra. I'm just not a feminist. Okay, so now this is a very long series. Become 6 test matches. I don't think Indian team has ever played something like this.
I mean,
we don't actually even have players. We play T20s. And then we sleep, and then we don't even come out on the field if we hit 4 sixes because it's too hot. We just break down quickly. I think a lot of people will break down, and a lot of people simply their body cannot take it. For example, older people like Ishant Sharma, bowlers particularly. And if they need to be rotated, they need to be managed really, really well. So I'm going to pick up a couple of players to start with. I mean, however you want to do it, because I'll pick it. If you have something on them, you can talk about it. Then you can take the next 3 or something. I'll just take first 3. Rohit Sharma. I don't think this guy can last 6 test matches because God forbid if he makes a double century in the very first innings, he will be too tired to come to the field, which is not a particularly bad thing. He can't really field. Now, Shubman Gill, if he succeeds in England, then I think he can play for India for a long time. Now, I know I sound a lot like international IPL commentators, but
legend.
I'm a little bit serious about this thing because I think Gill has serious talent. And Mayank Agarwal, I think he's the backup for the opening slot. I don't think he will play unless Gill does not fire, because Gill is definitely there. He's the first choice. Rohit Sharma is obviously going to play. So these are the few things. I mean, I'll quickly pick on Cheteshwar Pujara. You can take the all 6. Cheteshwar Pujara needs big runs. Kohli needs big runs and big centuries. Ajinkya Rahane, I've got a little joke on Ajinkya Rahane. Let's see if it falls flat or he falls good. He needs runs. I don't know if it's last series for him. It is game over, because after this series, it could be Ajinkya Rahe nahi. because that can also happen. It could be like Ajinkya nahi rahe or rahe nahi, if you just want to go with either one of them. Okay, that was probably a terrible one, but yeah. So these are this is my hit for the top order and the middle order. Although Hanuma Vihari is also, and we'll come back to that. But I think I
Yeah.
want to take up this first 6 players first.
Yeah. So yeah, I think
Quickly, yeah.
pretty much accurate. Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill will be the first choice openers. So, particularly after what happened in um, Australia, and there is KL Rahul as well somewhere there, if he's fit. Because if he plays, he'll be playing as an opener. I don't think he'll be slotting in middle order. And yeah, I mean, Pujara didn't score many runs, but he did really well, at least in the last test match in Australia. Took so many blows. But yeah, he is one of those batsmen who actually needs to score in the series, because we have good players, we have good batsmen, but we don't really have very technically sound players, right, who can handle the seaming ball in England. And it'll be very interesting, because I'm really excited about this. This never happens, as you said, 5-6 test matches. One is the World Cup, World Test Championship final, and the others are 5 test matches. This never happens. Very rarely we see teams traveling and playing so many test matches. This is like old fashioned, right? And so I'm really looking forward to it. And I think this is again a very big series for Kohli. He did really well last time, but as a team, we didn't do anything. I mean, we won last test match by the time it was over. But we had our chances during the last series. We had our chances where we could have won. I particularly remember in the first test match, Sam Curran, who came and really screwed us. Otherwise, we could have won at least one more match. So yeah, I think top order really needs to fire if we need to win in England. And all of those players are in need of real good runs. Even Rohit Sharma, he scored a lot of runs in India, but I mean, the main test is obviously England. So yeah, I think top 5 is pretty much set. So we can talk about others now.
Okay, you didn't say anything. Okay, I think you already talked about Ajinkya Rahane. So my deal was, only thing is, I don't want you to comment too much on it. But generally speaking, because we already have a Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma, then we already have a backup. Then if KL Rahul, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for KL Rahul to actually come and open. Also,
Yeah, I mean, it's a long series.
He hasn't played for a while. It's a long series, so things can happen, but somebody has to really flop. And I have this. My theory is that Cheteshwar Pujara flopping is going to be a bad news for Ajinkya Rahane, because Ajinkya Rahane are already assuming that he's going to flop, because when shit happens and India loses a lot of test matches, somebody gets the X, right?
Correct.
So now if both Pujara and he completely flop, if Pujara flops, that means we'll end up losing matches. And if both flop, they have to drop at least one of them, right?
Yeah.
And Pujara will not be dropped for at least in the foreseeable future. So Ajinkya Rahane will be dropped. I think Rohit Sharma is not going to be a hit, but if Rohit Sharma just plays his game, tries to stay fit as much as possible, and try not to get lazy, because he is going to give edges, particularly at the beginning of the inning. So you will see bunch of low scores. I am assuming, like, at least if he plays all matches, 6 matches, there will be, if he plays all 12 innings, I'm just saying whatever innings he plays, half of the innings will be very low scores. And then rest of it depends, because he's definitely going to get a big score, and also depends on the pitches also. I am pretty sure they're going to make pitches, juicy pitches, and Duke ball is you can't, fluke does not work with Dukes, okay? So, and Australian pitches are much different. Australian pitches are like much better, and it also suits Rohit Sharma, because he's one batsman who is like very Australian, like, horizontal bats, shots. He's just very good at that stuff. It will be a big test for Rohit Sharma. This is one of the reasons why Rohit Sharma never became a genuine test batsman until like he was already too fat. So looking at Hanuma Vihari, I mean, everybody knows he showed a lot of determination in Sydney. He made like 23 of 237 deliveries, which saved us India the match, and then eventually we won at Brisbane, rest is history, blah, blah, blah. Now, I think he got injured that match and he could not play next match, or something like that happened, right? So Rishabh Pant is there. I think this is the time for Pant to consolidate his place, not his paunch. Because if he plays very well right now, then it's pretty much going to be like, like a Dhoni situation, like a Gilchrist situation. You're set. You're like, I'm the guy. I'm the wicket keeper. I'm the batsman. And for R. Ashwin, let's see if he can spell magic in England, because I was checking out his stats, literally the poorest against England, even in India. Like apart from this series, he's not been very good, because in England he's played 6 matches, he's taken 14 wickets at 33. So that's we're looking at like around 2 point some wickets per match, not good. Now, Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel is there, although Akshar Patel was great, but then really you can't see Akshar Patel getting nod above Jadeja, because Jadeja is the real 3D, because he feels so amazingly, he can bat amazingly, and it's just Jadeja. Jadeja has to really bowl badly to actually get Akshar Patel in. The first choice that's how I would go with. Washington Sundar is there. He has apparently test average of 66 right now as we speak. I don't think his bowling is going to work. I just can't see his bowling working in England. And then Jasprit Bumrah. My view on Jasprit Bumrah is that this is a little bit okay. We'll come back to Jasprit Bumrah. Let's finish with these all-rounders and all these batsmen. So you can take up the rest of it.
I think Hanuma Vihari again. He really played well in Australia in that innings which we are talking about. But again, this is a different deal. Playing in England, particularly on such wickets with the Duke ball, as you said. So we'll have to really see. It'll be a big test for him as well. Last time I remember, it was all about Kohli. He was the one who was scoring runs, and apart from him, no one actually scored runs. So right now, Kohli is not in a very good form. Apparently, I mean not apparently, but it's apparent. The last inning he played really well actually. Kohli made 71 before he got run out.
74 before. No, he was. Ajinkya got him run out. That was the whole. I already told them people should watch my podcast. Like the whole scheme that I planned up. He even got Virat Kohli's wife pregnant. No, Ajinkya did not. That's not the controversy. I'm saying he messed his head. So he gets his wife pregnant. So okay. Anyway, that was a long story. That's my conspiracy theory.
So I really feel that Hanuma Vihari he played in the last series as well, if I remember correctly. He played one match, I think. So he has played in England, so that's a plus point. And coming to the all-rounders, R. Ashwin, Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja, I think Ravindra Jadeja will be the first choice all-rounder, because this has been the case before he got injured, and then I remember Ashwin was getting dropped in a lot of away test matches. So I feel unless they go for a different kind of balance, I don't really see both Jadeja and Ashwin playing. Again, depends upon the wickets and everything. We don't really know how the wickets are there right now, because it'll be summer, right now it'll be summer. So it'll be summer. So
no, it's winter. It's England. It's not Australia. Australia is the one which has the weird seasons.
So we don't really know what.
No, I mean it is still summer. It's the middle thing. It's not really winter or summer. This is a good time. Like this is, as Peterson said, September is an amazing time. We should put IPL. He said middle to end of September is the best time in England. I was like, that's like 2 weeks. What is this thing? 2 weeks.
Everyone wants IPL.
To be very honest, I know England has a really terrible weather. So I understand, but they really wanted IPL. Sri Lanka wants IPL. North Korea wants IPL. Somebody posted on our if you see our podcast, people are saying we want it. So King Jong-un has already said he wants it.
Even North Korea wants it.
Go on.
So I really feel that Jadeja would be the first choice spinner, all-rounder, whatever you call him, because now because we are not talking about the people who got left out. Hardik Pandya was there in the last series and he took 5 wickets at Lords. So, but that is the reason why he was in the team, because of his all-round.
So did Ajit Agarkar, for heaven's sake. So did Ajit Agarkar scored a century at Lords. That's the one and only situation.
No, I mean,
we'll come back to that dude.
No, and that's correct. He was there in the team because he was an all-rounder. Now he is just a batsman. So it doesn't make any sense. And now we actually know that they are planning a second series during July. to Sri Lanka for all the other players who got left out. So we'll be having
Yeah,
two.
it's gonna happen, 100%.
Yeah, so there'll be two series going on together, which has happened before as well. Someone told me, but it's a very interesting development. Which it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. So yeah, coming back to Akshar Patel, I think Akshar Patel will be the third choice bowler after Ashwin, unless they go with two spinners, which rarely happens in England. I don't see that happening. So
No.
yeah,
Nope.
that's my view on those players.
All right, I'll move on to the next. Did you say anything about Washington Sundar? Okay,
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
you did, but not much.
No, I didn't say anything, but yeah, Washington Sundar again. I'm not sure.
It's like a backup situation.
It's a mostly backup situation. We'll see. He played really well, but again, this is swinging condition first tour to England, so I don't see him starting the Test series. Maybe later
Oh
on.
no, he's going to be a backup.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
swing is going to be gone by the time he comes like number 6, number 7. So he can actually bat. He can just relax a little bit. But I think this is a definite backup, and we can expect people to break down. Before I move on to the other ones, I want to say one thing which I noticed about a legendary Ravindra Jadeja is that particularly with Indian players, when they come back from injuries, I mean, I'm not always talking about Virat Kohli. He's a batsman. He never really had a big injury. But people, when they get injured and they get genuine injuries, when they're out for months, when they come back, they're a little bit slower than before because they're already slower. And people, actually, commentators say openly, and other people say, like, he just come back from injury. He just come back from injury. He's just getting in the rhythm. Ravindra Jadeja, he fucking comes back from injury after 3 months, and he feels like he's flying on the field.
Yeah,
I mean, there must be some really amazing work ethic with this guy, man.
Yeah,
There must be really amazing work ethic, because when he comes back, he is ready. Like, he is ready. Like, because we saw him the moment he came back in IPL, he was like, what's this guy? People just take it for granted, right? This guy was injured for fucking 3 months and just comes back on fire. And also, we're living in COVID circumstances, which means that some of the facilities which not going to be available to the person all the time. It's just difficult. And right now, you can't just move around so much. It gets difficult. So when you have that kind of work ethic, that means he has a setup at his place at home, and he just makes sure that, he is ready and firing, because... And hats off to that, because I've not seen anybody else do that. Because anybody who comes back, every time Rohit Sharma is injured for 7 days, he comes back, he's got another paunch and another chin. I don't know, and another like the fat under the biceps, like the auntie. I was like, what is happening with him? So, but yeah, hats off to this guy. Now let's talk about the bowlers who can bat when nobody's batting. So Jasprit Bumrah, I want to say one thing, and you can talk about it later if you just want to give me your view. But I feel this is a series, and I have a little bit doubt on Bumrah, which nobody is thinking. But I want to say this, that he just got married recently, and I've seen certain pattern with Bumrah, which a lot of people are not seeing because it's a bit latent. It's not obvious. But I just getting a feeling, the same thing happened with Chris Gayle. I'm not comparing directly with Chris Gayle, but somehow I just feel like people get comfortable. I don't think Bumrah really wants to be like bowling in test matches, 6 matches straight. There was something, the fire was like in the belly, which I saw 2-3 years ago in South Africa. I think that is not as strong. I think this series, it's going hard. Test cricket is hard. And I think this series will really prove the desire of Jasprit Bumrah. I want to see his body language. I'm really going to be looking at his body language, at what is happening.
Yeah.
If he's a little niggle and just says, okay, I want to sit out for the next test match, I want to see his desire. And this series for me will be the linchpin. I think this will show the mirror for me. And that has nothing to do with what kind of bowler Jasprit Bumrah is. Jasprit Bumrah is an amazing bowler. But I want to see his appetite for test cricket, because I just have a feeling. I just have this feeling that he might not have the same desire, because for test match and fast bowling, like genuine fast bowler, you need to have that goddamn appetite. Ishant Sharma has the appetite, but he's definitely not going to be able to play. I think he's going to play 2 or 3 test matches, depending on what the situation is. Somebody gets injured, he's definitely in, depending on the pitches and also how other people are bowling. But he's definitely going to get a look in. Mohammad Shami is definitely a wonderful bowler. Let's see how he goes. With Mohammad Siraj, I honestly tell you that I actually doubted him. I thought he's just there because a lot of people got injured. But I've seen him bowl over and over again now in India test matches. Forget about the IPL. But I think he's a real deal. And I think I underestimated him. He's actually a very good bowler.
Correct.
And he just need to stop worrying about what people are saying. in the background and not get people kicked out. So, and then just concentrate on his thing. I think he's going to be less emotional now because last time there was obviously
Yeah.
personal
Loss.
tragedy
Yeah.
in family. So when his father passed away, so I think you can understand it. Now Shardul Thakur, I think honeymoon is over. The guy can't field, and the batting innings that he pulled off that time, I don't think it's going to happen again. I will be very surprised. So if he plays really well, if he even gets a look in, I will be very surprised. But good for him if he does. Now Umesh Yadav, I think this is a big leap of faith. But I like it because this guy, he's a bit erratic, but he has played for India for a long time, and then he can get wickets. Like he can get wickets. So this is a good thing. I put Vidyaman Saha and Rahul at the end. I didn't talk about it, but KL is back. I think KL has got a new tattoo. It says KL is back, bitches. So he got the operation done. He's going to be back in IPL, get his orange cap. Then he's going to do this. He's going to continue. Vidyaman Saha, boy, when the last year IPL, when he was so good and he got injured, after that, Pant just completely came up. And I think for Saha, it's pretty much over. But if Pant does get injured or something happens, he is definitely the keeper.
Yeah.
So unless Pant can slip on some powder, right? In England people slip on powder, so that can happen. So yeah, that's it for me. The main team. Of 20.
Yeah, I agree with you about Bumrah because even I feel that he has become a bit soft, or not soft, but I mean the intensity has dropped down a bit, especially with the marriage situation. I see all I see is him posting photos of him and his wife, which is not a bad thing. Obviously, it's not a bad thing. Everyone does that, but I just feel that the intensity has dropped. There is this feeling somewhere. There are feelings which you cannot pinpoint. Which you cannot give real reasons for. But I also feel like you that there is some drop in the intensity, and I think
we've seen the same thing with Virat Kohli as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is not, but Virat Kohli is slightly different. But this is much more subtle, right? Sorry, go on. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it will be the family man, and I think it'll yeah, and I really think that Australia is a hard tour for bowlers because you really have to bowl fast, you have to bowl hard overs and everything, but England you actually get wickets even on bad balls. If the ball is swinging and everything, so it's not. I wouldn't say that it will be a very it'll be a hard test, but since there are so many test matches and there will be times where we will be down in the dumps, that's the time when we'll see who actually rises to the occasion, and that's where I think we'll see whether Bumrah is still up there or not. So yeah, I think
I want to see Bumrah, like, just to, if people are not understanding what we're trying to say, because sometimes we might make he's not soft or whatever. What we're trying to say, if you've seen the last match when England played India, I don't know if it was the last match or the second last match, whatever. When James Anderson, I think it was the last match, James Anderson and Ben Stokes were selected, and then they had another spinner and Best could not bowl at all. And it was really fucking hot in Ahmedabad. And these guys bowled their heart out. Like literally Stokes was like lying flat on the pitch after every over, and people like, is he dead? Then he'll get up and he'll again bowl at the same fucking speed as his full speed. And James Anderson at 38, he just kept bowling, and that's what we're talking about. That is the passion that, you said, like, listen, I don't have to do this, but I want to do this. And that is what we're talking about, that I want to do this. Yeah, go on.
So, I think I also feel the same about Bumrah, and I'll be really happy to see him bowl at his best. Coming to...
We need Bumrah.
Yeah.
Generational talent. Yeah.
So, coming to Mohammad Shami, he had a really good test series last time. He took a lot of wickets and he has been bowling really well, particularly in test matches. So I really feel that he'll be good. But with him, the problem is he takes some time to actually get warmed up. And if you see, most of his wickets come in the second innings. So we'll have to see what happens this time. And then Ishant Sharma is always there. And I think we'll again, depending on the pitch, we might see him playing the first test match, the WTC final, because he's a experienced player, right? He has toured England several times. So plus I think he
wants to play.
Yeah. And
Yeah, he said it in the interview. It's like, I want to play. This is the whole reason I've been playing cricket for the WTC final.
so yes,
Because he said, I only play test matches. This is the only thing for me. That's what he said. He's
yeah.
like, I don't have one day. I don't have T20. This is for me. So I'm waiting for this thing.
Yeah,
All my life. Yeah.
yeah, even in IPL when he bowled in a couple of matches, I think he bowled really well. Even though that's a different
Yeah.
format, but
Different format altogether, but I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. He looked neat.
neat,
Yeah.
yeah. So and then Mohammad Siraj, I think everyone agrees that he is the best thing which has happened to the Indian fast bowling departments in the last year. He has really come up and delivered, not only in Australia but in India also. During the England Test series, he bowled really well, even though the wicket was not suitable for fast bowling. And yeah, I think he'll be very energetic, and he'll be up and thereabouts to prove himself. So
Hungry.
yeah, he'll be hungry. So good four bowlers, and I think it's a good move to get this guy. What's the what's the
Umesh.
Umesh Yadav? Yeah.
Umesh
So
Yadav.
I think that's a good thing, because Umesh, although he's erratic, although he's not very consistent, but he bowls really good balls in between all his erratic bowling, and I think he can be the fourth bowler, or the depending upon the situation. And since it's a long series, there will be in some injuries, there will be some niggles and all that. So we need a good bench strength, because we can't really bring on bowlers from India because of all
Can't get RP Singh, okay? We can't get RP Singh like Dhoni. Dhoni got him like 6 years ago or something.
Yeah.
RP Singh will come. RP Singh was bowling 117.
And talking about Bhuveneshwar, because he is not picked, and again Bhuveneshwar is my favorite, as you know if you watch this podcast. So I think it's fair. It's fair that he is not picked, because you really
Don't
need.
you have the notes? Don't you have the notes? How are you speaking? Because we're like level jumping. Like, we're going to talk about the people who missed out.
Okay, later. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll talk about him later. No, I was thinking, since we're talking
Did you
about.
have my notes?
Yeah.
I sent you the notes.
Yeah, I have the notes, but I thought we were talking about all the bowling options. Okay, so
Oh no, we're talking about the missed out. You
Huh.
want to talk? Do you want to talk about it first? Missed out people. Yeah.
no, we'll talk about them later. Okay, so who is left? Pant. I think Pant. Yeah,
Every-
he had a good series last time. He scored a century, first century in England with KL Rahul in the last Test match. So I think he's on a high right now. Captaincy, Delhi Capitals captain, and making India win at Gabba. So he'll be on a high. Only thing is the injury concern, I think, because again 6 Test matches, and but again this is England. I don't think Test matches will last for more than 3 to 4 days. So it should be fine.
Yeah, I think we need social distancing between Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, because these guys gonna, like, when they come together, just keep looking for restaurants. Okay? That is the problem with these people. So I need a lot of social distancing. I think that is COVID finishes. This social distancing needs to continue, because Rohit Sharma needs to stay away from other fatty foodie people, because they're like, "Arey, kahan pe jana hai? Bata, Rohit bhai, let's go. I found this restaurant. It is so amazing. Let's go eat." So then they have Abhimanyu Iswaran, who has a very good first-class record. He's a batsman, opening batsman. 58 Test matches, averaging 47. He has 1300, 1750s. Prasidh Krishna, everybody already knows about him. He recently got COVID, but I think that's not going to be a problem. It's
Yeah.
already a long time. He's going to be fit and firing back. So and then they have Avesh Khan. I think they're definitely going for pace. And then they got this guy Arzan Nagaswala. He's a left armer. And I've read about him that they're deliberately taking this guy because for simulation practice for Trent Bolt and Sam Curran, because simulation. And did I say stimulation?
Yeah.
So hopefully not for stimulation. So for simulation practice for Trent Bolt and Sam Curran, because they bowl pretty much the same trajectory, which is, I think now we're getting really technical, and I like this fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I think
And by the way, in Aakash Chopra's podcast, they didn't fucking know this. They were like shooting nonsense. And I'm like, even I know this. What the fuck do you do, man? You guys are professionals. We do this like we are rookies. Okay. This is our part-time shit. You guys don't know this thing. It is written everywhere in the newspaper. His left arm is for simulation practice. Everywhere written. I was like, just Jesus guys, Jesus guys. And they on the podcast, the other guy telling him, the guy who is like taking the podcast, like if I'm the host, for example, here, I'm saying, he says Abhimanyu, and he says Nagas, he's not able to pronounce it. He's like, oh, I don't know him. Akash, I'm pretty sure you also don't know him. Akash said, no, I don't know him, but I called up Parthiv Patel or something. And Parthiv told me he's like this. I was like, what is this thing happening, man? Do some fucking research. I don't know. And this guy,
that's what happens.
He's like, what kind? You're doing for Crick Info, man. This is professional shit. You didn't even shower before the fucking podcast. Or maybe he'd have a shower. I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. Okay, that's the 4 ones. I don't want to spend too much time on this thing. So, are you okay with these 4 people?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I think you already spoke enough about them.
Yeah. I don't like no point because people don't know about them. People fast forward the podcast from there. So a lot of people missed out. Prithvi Shaw missed out. Hardik Pandya missed out. Kuldeep Yadav missed out. Yajven Chahal is not listed, but I always think he's missed out. Bhuveneshwar Kumar, your all-time favorite ever sports person, missed out. Navdeep Saini, T. Natarajan. I'm going to go quickly on this thing. Prithvi Shaw, I think this is a big reality check for Prithvi Shaw. Now, the fun fact is, when he doesn't score, India picks him for test matches. When he scores, they drop him. I was like, what is Prithvi supposed to do? Not make any runs. Then they'll pick him. Shastri like, he's not making a run. I think he should open for India. So that's their logic. Now, Hardik Pandya, his batting average in test matches is 31, just so people don't know it. And that's not good enough for only batsmen because he doesn't wicket keep. He can't bowl ever. And I think his test career, at least his overseas test career is over because I don't think he's going to be able to bowl. He's not able to hold, he can't hold up. His body cannot hold up. Now, and he doesn't want, that's the desire we're talking about, right? Now, what are you doing to make sure he doesn't care about? In fact, he says, I will only bowl in the finals. I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Like, who are you, man? Who are you? You are like King Jong-un or something? Like, and Kuldeep Yadav, I think it's time, man. I think it's done because I have no talent issues about his talent. He's supremely talented, but there is the temperament that you feel, and then he's not a good fielder. He just gets nervous too easily. I think he can't be. Like, it's not possible. Yajven Chahal has no chance. Anyway, so I don't want to talk about it. Bhuveneshwar Kumar, you will talk about him more because this guy swings both ways. He's averaging 22 in test matches, not bowling, batting. Bloody hell. And he got left out. There was obviously a little bit of injury concern, but then he was obviously going to be back by then, but they probably don't trust him enough. Navdeep Saini, to be very honest, since I saw him showing 6-pack in 6 different pictures in Hindustan Times Brunch Sunday last month, I knew he will be dropped because you can't have it all. You can't have it all. You can't be a superstar and all these things. The funny part, he was all talking about it's not about pictures. It's all about hard work. It's all about, then what happens. This is what happened. T. Natarajan, although his knee injury was, I think, a concern because he's obviously recovered from, like, not recovered, at least he's rehabilitating. But I think it's a good idea because you don't want to take a person who's just recovering, and particularly if they're a fast bowler.
Yeah.
To a tour like England, where it's just when you can get somebody who's fit and firing, who actually is more hungry, it is never going to be a good idea. So I am very happy with everybody who missed out, and special mentions for Jaydev Unadkar. Although we don't like him in IPL, apparently he's a good first-class bowler. 122 matches, first-class wickets he has at 15.89. So that's pretty neat because Indian pitches can be really harsh on fast bowlers. And Harshal Patel, recent genius, missed out, not even a net bowler. And Vijay Shankar, just wanted to say his name.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say his name. So, that's about it.
Okay, so I am really happy with the team, with the players who they have left out, because some of these players are having big names, and I'm really happy that they didn't pick the team based on names or potential and all that, because Prithvi Shaw, I have heard this, that they have asked him to lose some weight. I don't know how true that is.
Well, you're not supposed to be asked. Okay, it's like, can you ever imagine that somebody telling, okay, Ronaldo, Cristiano, I think I want you to lose some weight. Like, you're a professional fucking athlete. Can you imagine that situation? He's been there for such a long time, and and the trouble is, I liked what one BCCI official said without naming. That's what comes in the newspaper, because whenever they say something honest, I like it. When they just keep the names anonymous, they say more. He says the deal with Prithvi is he's fat and he cannot run around the pitch. But one thing I liked, he said like the biggest trouble is he's fucking 21. He's not 31. Like he's too slow for a 21-year-old.
Exactly.
And that is a problem.
Exactly.
That is a genuine problem. Yeah.
Yeah, because if even if you see very ordinary players, they are at least good in the field, right? I mean, if their skills are not, I mean, you can't. Skills takes time to.
This day and age, Bikram.
Yeah.
With the stuff we have, the money we have, I mean, literally, he can be just like rolling, like simple, like basic exercises.
Correct.
He'll be fine. He's 21, Bikram.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen Faf du Plessis at 36?
Correct.
I mean, the guy runs like a bullet, like literally. Like, so yeah, 21, it's unforgivable. But I think that's what I've said last time also, that when I see Prithvi on the pitch, somehow I don't see, like, he's just too arrogant that he's such a great batsman. There is something hand-eye coordination which you can see, which is amazing. And the way he plays, there's something amazing. But there are multiple facets of cricket, and particularly Test cricket. But I can't see Prithvi Shaw coming back with that kind of, he can't just, be so loose on the other elements. Every element is very important. I think he needs to be no social distancing with Ravindra Jadeja. That's what will work for him.
Yeah, put him in.
He will just punch him, beat him up. He's like, oh, go on the treadmill. Fuck it, I'll do it. Run, motherfucker. Daud, sale. He'll like die on the treadmill only. He's like, he died. Prithvi Shaw not selected. He's dead. He's dead.
Yeah, I mean, he just, he's a great batsman, and no doubt about his hand. And see, one thing I think we should always say, that all these players who we are talking about, they're all great players. They are great players in the sense they have skill. That's why they are in the fray. That's why people are talking about them. We are such a big country, and out of these many people, if these players are there who are being talked about, who are being there, who are there to be selected, so they are actually very good players, great players, legends, as the IPL commentators say. But you have to see what they bring to the table, and now in a fiercely competitive Test series, you don't want to lose in any of the aspects. And there, even if Prithvi makes 50, he'll be liability on the field. He'll be dropping catches. He'll not be able to quickly cover the ball and all that. And that's also required, right? It's just not about making runs.
Because one drop catch, Bikram, one drop catch of Joe Root can actually lose you the series.
Correct.
Like literally lose you the series. One drop catch of Steven Smith in the first fucking Test match, and you're fucked.
Exactly.
Like, it is not just a drop catch. It is not even that Test match. It completely changes the momentum. And also when they know they have a shoddy fielder, it just completely is like, when the ball goes to Jadeja, people are like, no, don't even try, man. Don't even try. That is the stuff. And Prithvi Shaw needs to get his act right, because there is some arrogance about him. And I think he just needs to work really, really hard. Like, he needs to be ripped. Like, he needs to be ripped, and he can do it. Trust me, once he gets it done, it will be like drug. Like, once you get fit, right, you just don't want to get unfit. You don't want to get
like
unfit.
what happened to Kohli, right? He was chubby and everything, and then suddenly he transformed. Not suddenly, but over the years, and after that he just stopped doing all the things which were unhealthy. Now he's even become vegan and all that. So yeah, that becomes a drug. Okay, so not wasting more time on him. Hardik Pandya, I think, I was saying that he took a fiver last series, but that is the reason he was in the team, because he was bowling and batting. So I really don't see how he fits in the team. So good decision. Plus also, since we are talking about the second series which is going to happen, so it makes sense to not take him to England and just let him sit sit out all the 6 matches, because that's what happened during the India-England Test series recently. He was there in the team, but he was just sitting during all those Test matches. So it is better for him to play somewhere else. Kuldeep Yadav, he's not getting picked in his IPL team, so you can't expect him to be picked in the Test series. Yuzvendra Chahal,
that only works for Pujara, okay? That is only for Pujara. You don't get picked for IPL, you get picked for Test matches. No, nobody for that. That's the only exception. The rest, everything is IPL. Yeah.
So, Yuzvendra Chahal, I mean, he was never in contention. Bhuvi,
never in the contention, yeah.
I think there is an injury concern. He is getting injured way too often, and we don't really want someone who becomes liability after the first Test match. So, I feel
because
that
when you
it's
get
a good
injured
decision.
in T20s, Now, when you get injured in T20s in 4 overs, then you know something is not going right. I think the physios, they've tested him and they've figured out that the injury can flare up anytime. And also in the middle of the match, your fast bowlers now can't bowl. And you can't change that because that's not a concussion, right? So you have to stick with it and then you lose the match. So, yeah.
Correct. So I think it's a good decision. Also considering the second tournament where I think he'll be there. So that also makes sense, because again, if you're taking him and he plays one match and then gets injured and then just travels with the team, doesn't make any sense. It's better for him to prepare.
Yeah, they also want to try to make sure that he's going to play T20 World Cup, because they really want him, because he's our premier bowler.
Correct.
It will be very good with him and Bumrah. So if he plays very well, that will augur very well for T20 competition.
So I don't know
wherever the hell is going to be, Sri Lanka, South Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how this information was not there with Aakash Chopra, because if he is such an insider, he should have known that this is happening. There is a second series being
They're winging it. They're winging it. They're like Donald Trump. See, what happens, Bikram, is just to be very understanding. When Aakash Chopra talks about how to bat, right? When he comes out with the bat and he tells you why, what technique and everything, he is amazing. Like, I really like him. Like, when he talks about why somebody's missing a delivery, what is happening, how your feet movement is, although his old test career was shitty, but he was a very good batsman. So when he talks about it, he's very good. But what happens with these things, right? It's about research. It's about putting your time in.
Correct.
But once you become complacent, right? You become complacent. I can show you my football podcast also, where some people are so complacent, they have like no idea. Like literally no idea about things. So because you get complacent, you have the job, you just say like whatever. So when in a podcast somebody says Nagaswala, the host says I don't know who this person is. Then he says, even the person he's interviewing, he said, you also might not know who he is. You also don't know who he is. Dude, you guys are doing for cricket, for this is the biggest fucking website. What is this nonsense? Do your fucking research. It takes 5 minutes. It took me 5 minutes to find out who Nagarwala is. You go on YouTube, you can see his bowling action, you can see what is clips of him. You just don't want to do it. I mean, the other guy doesn't even hasn't shaved for like 16 years or something. I mean, this is just shoddy shit. It's embarrassing. But this is what happens when you just have a job. You're like, I'm just going to show up. I'm Aakash Chopra, so this is how it is. I don't think it's unprofessional, but underprepared.
Nah.
Horribly underprepared. Yeah.
Correct. So yeah, I think Navdeep Saini, he has been again same. He's been going into Kuldeep's trajectory. He's not getting picked for his IPL team also, and that's RCB, where they haven't won anything. So I think he has not improved. He's a good bowler, but you need to keep improving. Even Bumrah and everyone, they have to work hard every day. Even though you are number one bowler, to stay at number one, you have to work hard and bring new things to your bowling or batting or whatever skill you are performing. So I think he has not improved. Wherever he was 2 years back, he's still there, and that's the reason he's getting dropped from the selection. Because I mean, it's England. Fast bowler should be picked unless they are injured, and I don't think he's injured. So that's the only reason.
There's a little bit of a concern there also. So both talent, I'm not sure how much hard work I'm sure he's putting in the yards. But I think there's also a talent point which happened in Australia, that Navdeep Saini was also injured. So they are just being very careful about people who are injury prone, because that's why they've not picked Natarajan, because Natarajan is a very good Yorker bowler. But then he's just recovering from a knee injury. There's no point, particularly knee injury. You don't want to take somebody like that on a big fucking test tour. It is just, I think I like how they selected people. They've been very rational about it. They've not been emotional at all. And a batsman, if the batsman is a great batsman like Rohit Sharma, you can still make adjustments for his lack of fitness and all. But for a fast bowler, it's unforgiving. Like test cricket for fast bowlers is unforgiving. You and I have seen people like Simon Jones, like in the 2005 series, he was the greatest bowler. Never ever played a test after that. He just on a boundary line, he just tried to stop a delivery. His knee went in to the ground, never recovered from that knee injury, ever, like literally. And Simon Jones could have been the greatest bowler. That's how it happens. It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable.
So yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, Jaydev Harshad Patel, I don't think we need to talk about
that. Leave that. Yeah. So yeah, I think it was a pretty good one. If you have also your views on the selection, if you also feel somebody else could have been chosen, including Arjun Tendulkar, who's a great bowler. We have heard, everybody talks about him. We have never seen him. But let's see, in the next tour, maybe Arjun Tendulkar will be there and he'll become a great bowler like Trent Bolt or like, Wasim Akram maybe. I don't know.
Wasim
Like,
Akram.
everything is
Yeah,
possible.
he gets tips
All right.
from Wasim Akram.
Without,
That I've seen.
he does? Okay. I also get tips from Wasim Akram because he came to one of the restaurants I was actually waitering at in Australia.
Oh,
so
is
he
it?
gave me some tips. So we both have got tips from Wasim Akram. So yeah, not worry about that. Now, I've also seen him in one of the stores called Myers, which is like what kind of store is in India? H&M. Yeah, it's just like H&M. So I've seen him walking around there trying to shop and stuff like that. So anyway, that was a long time ago when Wasim Akram was a great player. Now he's just a very bad commentator. So we have so many bad commentators. It's just crazy. Like literally, it's like, who is the worst commentator? I don't know, man. Everybody's so bad. Like just tell me who is good. Like tell me who's good. Ian Chappell is amazing, but they can't get Ian Chappell. They're like, no, we don't want Ian Chappell. You don't want fucking Ian Chappell.
Because he'll
Just
not be
idiots,
politically
man.
correct.
So,
He'll say some shit that.
he's not going to be political. They just don't want him because
Yeah.
he's gonna get fuck off, mate. Fuck off. So that will happen. On that fuck off note, so we also should fuck off and enjoy your thing. This is Monday, so you'll probably be watching it on Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever the hell you want to watch because YouTube is always there.
Yeah.
So this is me, Gav. This is Big. If you liked it, you can like and subscribe. We've been getting few subscribers recently on their own, which is kind of good. Before we only, we paid money to subscribe and we also persecuted people into subscription. So which is very nice. People are doing it on their own. And take care. Have a good rest of the week. We'll be back with more cricket, football, and some other podcasts as well. So yeah. Keep a watch out on it. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.